So if you guys are unaware, there's some information that has come out recently about Ubisoft. And this information is very interesting to me, and I wanted to share it to you today. I also have more of a deep dive coming tomorrow on video, so make sure to support the video when it goes live tomorrow. But a Ubisoft insider has alleged that the company wants Steam to remove the concurrent player counts to hide its failures. Now, I don't know if they're wishing and advocating for all the games. It doesn't sound like that. It sounds like they're just focusing on Ubisoft. But there's a couple of issues with this, right? There's a couple of issues. Number one, we've seen this somewhere before where it wasn't just one particular studio or whatever that had advocated for this. Everybody advocated for this in the industry, and that industry was the movie industry, right? So reviews for movies are now currently heavily filtered, heavily deleted, and it's all because they are trying to make it seem as if a movie is one thing that it's not. We all know that movie reviews are heavily filtered. A lot of them are, a lot of the negative reviews are deleted, and a lot of the positive ones, even though they're obviously bots, are pushed through with no problem. It's an issue that we see all the time. It's something that they've been wanting to do for a long time. They've been wanting to do this in gaming. They want to take away the ability for the player to find out any information about the success or the failure of a certain product in order to sway public opinion towards neutral. It's not even towards positive, but towards neutral, right? Because right now they know that the conversation is extremely negative around the gaming industry, and rightfully so. There's a lot of nonsense that's happening in the gaming industry that we actively fight against every single day, and they don't want you to know about it. They don't want you to even hear about it, because if you are ill-informed, or ill-informed, I should say, not ill-informed, if you are ill-informed, then you are more likely to potentially buy a product from them if you don't know any better. They are more focused on trying to bait and switch you than actually give you something that you might be excited to purchase, which is exactly what developers have been wanting for a long time. And gee, I wonder why that could be. Why could this suddenly be a thing? Well, I mean, if you guys are unaware, Star Wars Outlaws ironically hit the number that I said it was going to hit over the weekend. I said it was going to pass slightly over 2,000 concurrent players, and that's probably where the game was going to die. And then lo and behold, on Sunday, it hit its all-time peak of 2,492, and now after the weekend, there's no way in hell that shit is going to catch up. There's no way. So this game only hit about 2,500 concurrent players, and it makes you wonder, gee, why would they want to start hiding Steam concurrent player counts? I can only imagine why Ubisoft would even feel that way. And it's because they want to convince people that this game is a success. They're dying to convince people that that's the truth, even though you know and I know and they know that that's not true. At this point, even their investors know. Now, here's the thing. This is more so to do with public perception and the investor perception than it is actual gamers, right? They don't give a fuck about gamers. Let's be real. Ubisoft hasn't cared about gamers for a long time. But what this is about is the perception to investors, because here's what investors have started doing. Investors have started looking up player numbers themselves, right? They ask questions on these earnings call, or they ask questions on these investors calls. And what ends up happening? They end up getting bullshit the entire time. Yves Guillemot, the CEO over at Ubisoft, he is one of the people that will dance around a question faster than you can even imagine. It's insane. He dances around questions all the time. They lie to investors all the time. It is not even funny. It's honestly kind of fucking ridiculous. So what investors started to do is that they got a little bit smarter, and now they realize that, hey, even though it's a little too late, they can at least start looking up numbers themselves and get an idea of how a game is performing, because now they're being a little bit smarter with their questions. So we're going to get into this article, and let's talk about it. Again, this is from Fandom Pulse. John F. Trent, where they want to remove the player count. And, you know, it makes sense, right? It makes sense because they don't like transparency. How many times do we talk about this all the time, bro? We talk about transparency in gaming all the time. All the time. where they don't like to be transparent in the gaming industry. Transparency is something that is really bad for them. And it's because they rather focus on trying to bait and switch you than give you what you actually want. I know I said that already, but I want to say it again because they want you to buy into something bad. This is the same reason why they won't tell you the truth about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. They won't tell you the truth that that game is dead. They want to keep selling this game even though they know the game is dead and nobody's playing it. So when you pick it up and you expect to play with others, you realize that, gee, nobody's playing this shit. Nobody's playing this at all. But they hope to convince you by putting the game on sale for $5 or $10 to pick it up and then not even bother refunding it because it was under $25, and that's usually people's comfort zone of an impulse buy. It's all psychology with the sale. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so a Ubisoft insider has alleged that the company is not happy with Valve and Steam for revealing the concurrent player counts for its various games, including Star Wars Outlaws. Now, I don't know why that they would be unhappy about this, considering that they're not the only ones this happens to. There's multiple studios out there that get their numbers showcased all over the place. So why? I can't stand Ubisoft. I really can't, because like I told Smash JT, all this information that we have about different consultancies, different problems in the gaming industry, a lot of it ties back to Ubisoft to some way, shape, or form. And it's starting to get ridiculous. It really is. It's starting to get ridiculous to the point where it's like everything ties back to them. Everything. You got a problem with a certain developer, chances are they have history at Ubisoft. You got a problem with a certain consultancy firm, chances are they got history at Ubisoft. It's crazy just how much can get tied back to Ubisoft as being not patient zero, but damn near patient zero. So the insider told Fandom Pulse that Ubisoft and other companies, so it is other companies. Okay, so Ubisoft and other companies want to pressure Steam to stop Steam Tracker from giving out info, and they want to keep it to themselves. He added they want to be able to present findings to investors so they can make it sound good. Like I told you, man, this has to do with the ability to lie to investors. They are losing the ability to lie to them, and they are losing that ability because YouTubers, who are now more so the mainstream media than anything, have access to that information and are spreading it out for everyone to know. And so what ends up happening is that public perception ends up catching wind of what's happening. And now people have to question whether or not they want to buy the game. Whereas before, maybe 5-10 years ago, people would have bought this game blindly just because it had Star Wars in the headline. But now that's not the case anymore. We don't live in that kind of world anymore. And they so desperately want to go back to that kind of a world. They really want to do it. So I'm sorry for the picture of K-Vest. I know you guys are like, my eyes. I know. I'm sorry. I'd rather look at this fucking creature than K-Vest, to be honest with you. But it's just what it is. On top of this, the insiders share that Ubisoft's most recent release, Star Wars Outlaws, has still not hit the 2 million units sold mark, despite being on the market for nearly 3 months already. It was reported, and this is a hilarious thing. You guys ready for this? It was reported at the end of September by Insider Gaming that the game had only sold just over 1 million copies in the first month. The outlet's writer stated, "We have secured a current sales figure from sources close to the game. At the time of writing, Star Wars Outlaws has just ticked over 1 million sales worldwide." Now, do you guys remember where they thought they were going to be? You guys remember where they thought they were going to be? So Ubisoft thought that this game was going to be at about 5 million sales, right? That's what one of the investors thought. And that's what one of the people over at Ubisoft tried to confirm to him, right? When they did their math and they did their estimates and they did their little analytics shit, they thought this game was going to be at around 5 million sales after the first couple of months. That's what they thought. And the funny thing is, at the time, they thought that the 5 million sales number was low. They thought that was low, and they were concerned. That's why they were bringing up the question. They were saying, what are we going to do with this 5 million estimate number that seems a little low given the information that we have about community sentiment? It's because Ubisoft lied. Ubisoft lied about the public perception about Star Wars Outlaws. They lie to investors. So investors, when they're trying to calculate and they're trying to do things to try to make it, to try to get an idea of where this game is going to end up and ask questions, their math is way wrong because they don't understand what the true public perception of the game actually is. Because unfortunately, a lot of these guys who invest in these games, they're not fucking gamers half the time. They're not gamers. They're investing in tech companies, man. They're older guys in suits. For the most part, some people aren't, but some of them are too. So they don't know. They have no idea. They don't watch this shit. So now what ends up happening is, okay, you're thinking 5 million sales is going to come, and that's a low number. And now you realize that you're at 1 million sales. What do you do? What do you do with that information? I feel like you would run. You would run. Get the fuck out. Keep liking the stream, guys. So we got on top of this. This insider shared that Ubisoft's most recent release, Star Wars Outlaws, has still not hit 2 million sold. And then investors had initially hoped that the game would sell at the very least 5 million units in its first month. Oh, my bad. My bad. I thought they were talking about multiple months. They thought that this game was going to hit 5 million sales in 1 month. In 30 days. They really thought that. And then now you understand why they want to hide the Steam numbers. Now you understand. Because if they don't hide the Steam numbers, then the perception of the game is public. It's too public. Everybody can see it. Like, people have spoken. Gamers have spoken. We don't want this shit. We're not buying this shit. Like, I don't understand what it's going to take for people like them to realize that we're not going to buy this.